Hi book check-ins. I am here today to do my quarter 1 wrap up. I'm really excited. I don't think I've ever done videos like this. I started from Danny Dabbles. I will try to link her remote if I remember. But I just think it's a good way to hold myself accountable for a lot of the things that I'm doing. Like I'm doing monthly resets, but I just kind of want to look at myself kind of overall and just see like where we are at and all of that stuff. So the first thing I'm going to look at is my goals that I'm having and to see if I'm achieving them and like where we're at, just to kind of hold myself accountable. So my first goal that I'm kind of assessing is my reading goal. So right now I have read 55 books. My real goal is, my official goal on Goodreads is 100, and then I raise it to 200 once I hit it. So I'm on track to kind of make that as of right now. I have 400 goal followers on my blog. I'm not really doing a lot on my blog this year specifically. I just needed to cut something, but I am posting like whenever I have like a video, basically just to kind of remind them or any blog tours I get assigned. My goal is 1,500 on Instagram, and I'm at 1,200, so pretty good. My YouTube goal is 533, which means I've reached my goal to get to 500 followers, which has been a really big dream of mine, which I'm really happy about. So I think I'm gonna raise it to 600 and come back to that and see if I can get to 600 by the start of summer. Summer is also a time when I do make a ton more content, so I would like that as an option. And my TikTok goal right now, I have 390, and my goal for that is to get to 400 or 500. I hopefully will be able to get to 400 by next quarter. We will see. I have been doing really good at reading 3 genres a month. I will kind of go through my sets, how many audiobooks I read, but my goal for the year is to read 50 audiobooks, finish 20 series. We'll talk about it in my spreadsheet that Cassidy gave me, and 10 nonfiction. I've only read 2 nonfiction, I think, this whole year, so not the greatest, best, but I'm working on it. My Game of Chance is going okay, I will say that. Yeah, and I have been doing a readathon every single month, sometimes 2. So yeah, let's get into the stats that Cassidy gave me. If you don't know Covers with Cassidy, you should. She's really great. She made this spreadsheet that I'm loving because it does all math for me, especially because I suck at math. So between the first 3 months of the year, I've read 55 books. I've read 18,154 pages. Really good. My average page per day is 206, which is incredible. My average page count is 330, which is right where I like to be. I have been reading some longer books recently. My most read genre is romance, but that's just because my fantasy is kind of divided into adult, middle grade, and young adult. But I do read a lot of romance audiobooks, and I do listen to more than I physically read. I read 19 books with rep and 35 from authors that I've read before, which are really good stats. I've had 12 5-star reads, and I'll show you a couple of my highlights at the very end. I've had 24 4-stars, 17 3-stars, 1 2-star, and that gives me a 3.8 range, which I'm really happy with. I have read 16 new releases, 20 backlist, and 19 from last year. That 19 from last year gets smaller as we kind of make it further in the year. I've read 18 physical, 27 audio, 3 mixed media, 7 ebook, which is pretty good. I want to get my NetGalley number up a bit, so I'm going to try to make a concentrated effort towards that. You will see the one list I didn't do that great with was definitely NetGalley, my NetGalley list. I started 14, I continued in 12, I completed 4, I caught up with 12 series, I DNF 3, and I'm still working on 23 series, which, you know, is not the greatest, but not the worst. I'm also read 17 standalone and 13 companions. I really do like my companion romance series. I read 3 physical arcs, 3 from Audible, 5 from KU, 10 from the library, 5 from NetGalley, 24 owned, and 3 from Everand. I will say these numbers are a little bit off because it just kind of depends on what I read it as, not if I have a physical book for my collection. So sometimes those numbers are a little bit off. And my genre breakdown, I read 4 YA contemporary, 8 mystery, 1 contemporary, 5 YA fantasy, 5 middle grade fantasy, 3 graphic novels, 14 romance, 2 historical romance, 1 indie fantasy, 1 thriller, 3 fantasy, 6 fantasy romance, 1 nonfiction, and 1 sci-fi. So yeah, basically if I had to divide my reading, it would be I read a lot of fantasy and a lot of romance. Those are my two most read genres. And yeah, so that is all of my stats. I'm just a stats girl. I think it's interesting. And now I'm going to attach a photo of all the shows and movies that I watched in the first quarter, and I'm going to give you a mini review. So the first, oh, I forgot one. Okay, I forgot Percy Jackson. That's okay. But I did want to be watching Sweet Magnolia season 3, and I really, really loved it. Very, very fun. Really, really great series. They did get renewed for a 4th season. It's based on a book series. I haven't read the books, but it's about these 3 characters that live in like Georgia, and it follows their trials and tribulations. I also rewatched The Investigators, which is a Netflix original from Australia. I really, really liked it. It's a very, very fun, quirky show. It kind of gives me Sherlock Holmes vibes. I will talk about Percy Jackson because I think Percy Jackson was my favorite show of the whole year. I didn't add it to my graphic, but I love Percy Jackson. I also watched the behind the scene documentary. We're getting season 2. I definitely want to rewatch it. I also watched season 3 of Murders in the Building. I liked it. It had Paul Rudd. It was great. It was fun. It was a great time. I also watched The Avatar: The Last Airbender, which I would say is probably my second favorite. Again, I know it's not going to be perfect. It's going to cut things out. I know my coworker really had issues with it. I didn't, but I had a really, really fun time with it. Excited for season 2 and 3. I think the casting was perfect. And then I watched 2 movies. I watched Damsel. They're both Millie Bobby Brown, ironically, which I really had a fun time with. I want to read the book. It's on my shelf. And I also watched Enola Holmes 2. We're doing a murder mystery in my school, and I had to watch that for research. And then I watched The Eras Tour with Taylor Swift, which I was really, really fond of. So yeah, that is all the TV shows and movies that I engaged in. I also definitely did craft a lot, especially in January and February. Fell off of it a little bit in March. And I have been continually working out, which has always been something I'm working towards. But yeah, that is the TV shows I watched this winter. And now the next photo you are going to see is my top reads of the winter. So you just saw the graphic, but these are the books that stood out for me. So if I have to talk about YA contemporary, YA mystery thriller, the 2 books that stood out for me are Dungeons and Drama by Christy Boyce, which is the first book I read this year, and I loved it. Oh my god, my drama-loving heart was so content. It was basically about this girl that got into trouble. She's a musical theater kid, and they wind up canceling her drama show because they don't have funding, and she gets in trouble because she tried to go see Beautiful with a friend of hers, and her mom caught her, so she has to work at her dad's dungeon, like basically hit his game store, and a romance is on the horizon. I love this book so much. It was great. It was delightful. It was perfect. I really just loved it. So definitely a standout for me. I also recently read Royal Scandal by Amy Carter. This is the 2nd book in the Royal Blood series. So much. It was like perfect. I think that this book worked so well for me because it added the thriller elements in book 2. If you're a Harry and Meghan fan, or you just have been following that with everything with the royals that's going on, I think you'd like this book. It definitely geared more thriller than the first book. I'm really excited for book 3. Fond of it. Was a quick read, and it kept me captivated. And then the 2 adult romances that stood out to me was Ashes of You by Catherine Cowles, which is the final book in the Lost and Found series. This was Lawson and Hadley's book. I love this. It was great. It had found family. It was dad with a nanny, and it had a really, really unique suspense element that I did not see coming. I was pretty shocked. And I also really love The Breakup Tour by Emily Weberly and Austin Sigmund Broca, which if you're a Swiftie, I think you'd like this book. And then the two adult YA fantasy books that I really enjoyed were Powerless by Lauren Roberts, which is a popcorn read, very coded for Hunger Games and Red Queen. I have the novella on my TBR for March because it's supposed to be coming out and I really want to read it. And I also read Destroy the Day by Bridget Kemmerer, and that was the final book in that series that I also really, really loved. And then just two other books that I want to chat about is The Impossible Imposter by Deanna Raybourn, which is the 7th book in the Veronica Speedwell series. I've struggled with a couple of them, but this book was definitely a standout for me. I really, really liked it. And the other book I want to shout out is The Fellowship of Bakers and Magic, which I just love this book. It was cozy, it was fun, it had a baking competition, and I was here for it. So those are the those are the 10 books that I really loved this quarter, and hopefully you will see a lot of them on my end of the reads or the end of the year's list. And then we're quickly just gonna review my lists, and I'm gonna tell you how many books I read from each list and my highlight book if I have any. So from my sequels 2024 list, I read 4 out of the 11, and my favorite was probably tied between Destroy the Day and Ashes of You. And from this list, I also read Emily Weberly's Rep of the Other Ones and Royal Scandal, Ashes of You, and Destroy the Day. Really, really solid list because I really enjoyed all of them. Books from authors that I read before, I only read 2, and I read Dungeons and Drama by Christy Boyce, and I read The Breakup Tour by Emily Weberly and Austin Sigmund Broca, and both of those made my top reads of the quarter list, so that's really, really impressive. For my NetGalley arcs, I only read 1 out of 21. I'm struggling with NetGalley. I'm struggling. I have a vlog project in the works for NetGalley, so keep a nose out from that. It will probably happen in May or June, but I only read 1 out of 21. My 5-star reads for 2024, out of 25 books, I read 5 of them. So I read Royal Scandal, which was a 5-star read. Fragile Enchantment was like a 3.5-star read. It was okay. I also read Ashes of You by Catherine Cowles, which was a 5-star read. I also read The Breakup Tour, which was a 5-star read. And I also read Destroy the Day, which was a 5-star read. So out of my 5-star prediction, only 1 was not a 5-star read. My self-destruct list, I checked off 3 out of the 17. I read Little Thieves, Weather Girl, and I also read When We Were Them, but I DNF'd that. That was my Laura Taylor Navy. 2023 books that I wanted to read, I read 4 out of the 20. So I read Iron Flame, Stars and Smoke, Forget Me Not, and Assistant to the Villain. So those are the books that I read. And then Beak the Backlist Challenge, I read 2 out of 14. I read Forging Silver into Stars, which was a 5-star read for me, and I also read Do I Know You by Emily Weberly and Austin Sigmund Broca. So yeah, that is my wrap up. Let me know in the comments if you like these videos. Let me know if I missed anything, if there's anything else that you would sort of love to see in my quarterly wrap-ups. I've never really done one before. But yeah, I would love to know what you guys would like to see. I would love to know your top read of the quarter so far, because maybe I'll do a project on them. We'll see. And I'll talk to you guys for my next video. Bye, Book Dragons.